Bank Negara Malaysia says it has granted approval for Malaysia Building Society or MBSB to start negotiations to acquire Malaysian Industrial Development Finance MIDF. In a burst filing today, MBSB said that the central bank stated in its letter dated April 6th that it has no objection to the lender entering into discussions with MIDF's sole shareholder Permodalan Nasional or PNB to explore the possibility of acquiring 100% shareholding in MIDF. It said the approval is valid for a period of 6 months from the date of Bank Negara's letter. MIDF is a diversified group financial services provider with 3 core businesses, namely investment banking, asset management and development finance. It is also considered a non-prescribed development financial institution established by the government with specific mandate to develop and promote key sectors that are considered of strategic importance to the overall socio-economic development objectives of the country. Back in 2019, a merger was proposed between MIDF and Al-Rajhi Malaysia, but it was called off the following year. Quoting sources, The Edge Weekly had reported then that the proposal valued MIDF at about one-time book value of 1.7 billion ringgit. MBSB's shares rose 6.67% to 64 sen for a market value of 4.3 billion ringgit. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission or MACC has launched an investigation into the sale of land proposed for the development of an international airport in Seri Iskandar, Perak. According to a Bernama report, the anti-graft agency took action after receiving a report from Manjoy Assemblyman Datuk Asmuni Awi. Quoting Perak MACC Chief Datuk Muhammad Fauzi Muhammad, the report said several individuals will be called up to assist in the probe. He declined to reveal the names of the individuals concerned. Yesterday, 4 State Executive Council members in the previous PH government, including Asmuni, reportedly called on the MACC to look into the sale of the 188-hectare land belonging to the Perak State Development Corporation or PKNP to a private company. They claimed that the matter was never discussed in State Exco or PNKP board meetings when the PH administration was still in power. The matter came to light last Tuesday after Aulong Assemblyman Ngako Meng claimed that the land in question had been sold without the permission of the state government. 2 days later, Perak Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Sarani Muhammad confirmed the transaction and said the deal was done during PH's time. Moodys Investors Service has projected that Malaysia's gross domestic product or GDP will expand 6% this year and continue at the same pace in 2023, following the normalization of activities in key economic sectors and the reopening of borders, as well as continued strong export demand. This is within Putrajaya's official forecast of a 5.5% to 6.5% growth. Moodys Assistant Vice President and Analyst Nishat Majmuda told a press briefing a 6% expansion is, however, more reflective of an economic recovery rather than robust growth. Still, compared to other sovereigns in the Asia-Pacific, Malaysia is in a fairly positive position for recovery this year. He said a combination of factors is expected to support the country's economic recovery, including the reopening of borders, Malaysia's high vaccination rates, and the government's comfort with COVID-19 as endemic would also support growth. Over time, this will kick in a new private investment cycle in the country. Despite weaker growth in some key export markets, such as the European Union, Nishat said demand remains strong and could be maintained over the next 1 to 2 years, especially for the electronics, oil and gas and medical devices segments. Dhana Infra National will issue a combined 2.5 billion ringgit worth of Islamic Medium-Term Notes or IMTN under its 71 billion ringgit scheme across 5 tranches tomorrow. The MOF-owned infrastructure financing entity is mandated by the government to raise money to finance the country's mass rapid transit and Pan-Borneo Highway Sarawak projects. According to the Bond and Sukuk Information Exchange's website, the IMTN, which have tenures of 7 to 30.02 years, will pay annual profit rates of between 3.99% and 4.8%. The proposed tranches comprise a 7-year 415 million ringgit IMTN maturing on April 6, 2029, which offers an annual profit rate of 3.99%, a 10.01-year 300 million ringgit IMTN maturing on April 7, 2032, which pays an annual profit rate of 4.07%, a 15.01-year 870 million ringgit scheme maturing on April 7, 2037, with an annual profit rate of 4.53%, a 20.01-year 355 million ringgit scheme maturing on April 7, 2042, which pays an annual profit rate of 4.68%, and a 30.02-year 560 million ringgit scheme maturing on April 5, 2052, which offers an annual profit rate of 4.8%. These Islamic bonds are government guaranteed. A survey by Payments Network Malaysia or PayNet revealed the percentage of Malaysians that use cash to pay has fallen 11 percentage points to 78% from 89% before the pandemic. Citing findings from PayNet Digital Payments Insights Study 2022, Bernama reported that Malaysians continue to predominantly use cash for payments, although reliance on cash has dropped, similar to findings in other countries. However, fewer Malaysians use cash when it comes to daily payments, 48.4%, and less so in urban areas, 36.2%. PayNet said this was likely contributed by the rise in QR payments, established trust in debit cards, as well as fears of becoming infected by COVID-19 by handling banknotes. It said businesses, except those in the East Coast and southern regions, have experienced changes in customer payment behaviours since the pandemic, with cash no longer being the primary payment method, while the northern region has seen the most pronounced change.